Good morning, and welcome to Red Letter Advent, Day 1, December 1st. Drinking a little breakfast blend this morning. I hope you're up and about, getting ready for worship this morning on this beautiful Sunday morning. I hope that you have your Red Letter Advent book. I hope that you're ready to begin the journey today as we look at unboxing hope. What is hope? Or where does it come from? And what's so great about it? Well, someone once wrote that Jesus is the grace of God come to earth. Have you ever thought about that? It's the greatest gift, this gift of God's grace and forgiveness and love and hope and peace and joy, all wrapped up into one. And that's the gift that we're going to be unboxing in this Advent season. The story of us, the story of God in relation to us, begins in Genesis chapter 1. And he sets up one of the most brilliant stories, narratives of God and his people. We need that creator story. We need that beginning. We need that story that says, how did we get here? Who are we? And so God tells us. He begins his narrative by telling us we are his own creation, handmade by him. David would later say, we're still knit together in the womb by our Father. We are his handmade creation. In those opening chapters of Genesis, we have such a beautiful story of God's love for us. Now, that garden chapter turns way to, well, our fall into sin. But when you begin that story, you realize that the center of everything is not man, it's God. God is the center of everything. He's the center of creation. He's the center of our story. He's the center of our redemption. Even when we fall, sin becomes the ultimate tragedy. It takes us down as Adam and Eve cross a line that they can't come back from. They turn away from a loving God and they fall into sin. And that sin just rolls on and on and on. And we today still reap the effects of that sin that we are born in, that sin that we daily struggle with, that battle against us versus our Creator. But God doesn't leave us in that struggle. Already to Adam and Eve, he gives hope. Hope. He gives them grace. He says, there will come one who will fix this, who will restore this. Well, that's hope. That hope has echoed down through the generations, through families, through churches, through synagogues, through temples. That hope has just roiled on and on and on. And today we enter that season where we get to rip open the package and open up and see what hope is all about. I hope today in your daily reading, you begin to think back to some of those Advent traditions you maybe had as a child. Do you remember the Advent calendars? I remember the first one I got, how excited I was to rip open those doors, but I couldn't wait. And so I poked them all open right away and then tried to fold them back as if no one would notice. Well, that doesn't work. We've got Advent calendars for you. You can come to church. If you've got some children, we've got a calendar for you so they can mark off the days of this Advent. Maybe your family had an Advent wreath. My family did not growing up, but we have one now. And that Advent wreath is the centerpiece of our world during Advent. It reminds us that we are in a special season, something a little different. Maybe you can join us tonight at 6:30 as we kind of unpack Advent. We're going to talk a little bit about the history, and it goes back a lot farther than you think. And so we're going to talk about what it means to live with hope and peace and joy and love. as we kick off the Advent season tonight, we're going to light it up. We're going to light all the candles to the Advent wreath. We're going to tell the whole story so that you know what's coming. So as we begin this slow journey of Advent, you'll know what's ahead. I know it seems like, spoiler alert, but no, it doesn't spoil anything. It just helps it build as we move along. Well, I'm going to join you every day, God willing, as we continue this journey of Advent hope. And welcome to day one of Red Letter Advent. This is Pastor Craig from Peace Lutheran Church in Arlington, wishing you a blessed Advent season.